All right, let's talk about how camp has been, the feeling you've got back on the field, developing chemistry again with this group of guys that I know you're very familiar with, a couple new faces, but just knowing for sure that you're actually going to be able to play this year instead of the sort of question mark process you went through a year ago.
Definitely an easier process just because anytime you're healthy and you're feeling a lot better, it's going to be easier. You don't have to spend as much time in the training room and doing all those extra things just to make sure you're ready to go. I'm just right where I need to be and just fired up to go out there and play with these guys. I think we have a stacked team right now, so I'm just fired up to get those guys the ball and watch them go.
What's your level of nervousness or anxiety or whatever you want to call it heading into this game, any game? Because obviously you're incredibly experienced. You've been doing this for a while. You've played in huge games. SUU is not the toughest test you're going to face, but it is live work. What's your level of anxiety?
I don't really think I get very anxious. Only that's kind of something you feel when you don't really prepare and do everything you possibly can to be ready to go for the game. We've been we had a long time to kind of review this tape and just try to see everything that we want to see to make sure that we're ready to go. And I think I'm feeling prepared and just ready to go and just excited to say go. That's kind of where I'm at.
A couple days away from game day, do you have a game week or a game day routine that's like science for you and you got to stay with it?
No, however I wake up, I'll just go and be ready to go. One thing I do tend to do, though, is eat watermelon for some reason.
Okay.
I love watermelon, and it's usually at every location we travel to.
So there's no, breakfast got to be one thing, the night before you're eating the same thing?
I can switch it up however I want.
Man, that's
nice.
Good to go.
Yeah.
You're a relaxed individual because there's a lot of guys, they have to, they're creatures of habit, and they got to stay within that routine, but that's not you, huh?
Not really. I mean, I'll meditate and just try to relax myself and just be as calm, cool, and collected as I can be. Just think you got to go out there and just kind of be as loose as possible, be ready to go, and that's usually when you play your best ball.
Is there a pregame playlist?
I like to listen to slow R&B, throw it back with Teddy Pendergrass or something like that. Just really get in a calm and cool, collected kind of mindset.
That's funny. I was always the same way when competing in different sports, obviously at the highest level, but listening to adrenaline pumping music, getting yourself going with whatever it is that does that for you, for me was an exhausting process. I didn't want to be focused on competition until 30 minutes before the competition actually started.
Yeah, no doubt. You get too high if you do that, and then you can kind of burn out a little bit and lose some fuel right there. So I think you always have to stay calm, cool, and collected and listen to easygoing music until it starts to get a little closer.
Do you find that your attitude towards preparation and your attitude towards that routine has maybe permeated to the rest of the team? Do you feel like it keeps other people more relaxed?
For sure. I always try to make sure I'm as cool as can be out there. Just trying to smile, make sure guys are out there having fun. It's not a life or death sport. It's something that you can do, and to have fun, you got to go out there and put your best foot forward and beat the man across from you each and every play, and just kind of that's my mentality, and I hope the whole team just adopts that.
How much press have you been paying attention to? How many articles about Utah's prospects this year have you actually seen, read, paid any attention to?
Don't really care. You got to go out there and prove it. That's the one thing I've always thought. It's nice to get preseason awards and stuff like that, but it only means as much as what you can do during the season. So you just got to focus on going 1-0 each and every week, and that's the main focus.
All right, this week we spent some time. The depth chart came out, right? Those things are sometimes deliberately misleading. They're sometimes, exactly what we expect. I was decoding things and probably reading way too much into it, but there's a lot of weapons on that offensive depth chart.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys listed even at positions that they used to be. We could pull up the Fiesta Bowl year.
Yeah.
Tight end was 2 guys. You got 6 just on the depth chart, and I know there's even more in the room that we'll probably see. The weapons at your disposal, how are you going to keep everybody happy?
The unfortunate part about football is there was only one ball. And it's not always kind of up to me to make sure that we're putting guys in those situations. So I just got to make sure I'm going out there doing everything I possibly can to kind of spread the wealth. But yeah, I know there are some guys that are going to get the ball a few more times than others, and we just got to make sure everybody's bought into the team and focused on winning, because that always takes initiative.
It is game week here on ESPN 700. Sean O'Connell Show with Cam Rising ahead of the kickoff against the T-Birds of Southern Utah. FCS opponent, local in-state opponent. There's some guys that played high school ball with some of your teammates, things like that.
Some guys that play for us.
That's true, right? The transfer portal has changed that. Yeah. Where are they dangerous?
I think they're a very sound football team. They do a really good job making sure they're matching personnels and just playing a good brand of football. And anytime you go up against a team that can do that consistently, it's always going to be a challenge, and you just got to try to find ways to exploit them.
So it's like a 38-point spread. You're supposed to dominate this team. In an ideal world for you, what does the game look like? Are you playing all 4 quarters? Are you out by halftime?
I don't really try to focus on that. I got to go out there and go win a football game. That's always my focus. If we can get other guys in the game, that would be great. But my goal is to go in there and put as many points on the board as possible, and whatever happens from that will happen.
Coach Witt usually plays it pretty close to the vest, and in the media availability, the press conference this week, he was asked about the QB run game, and that's something you and I talked about last week on this show. And he was more revealing than usually he ever is. He's like, not going to be a lot of design QB run. We talked to Cam, and he's going to be, the word he used was judicious with contact and making sure that he gets down at the right time, which echoes exactly what you told me you were going to do, and you don't take a lot of hits. And actually, my guy Jeff Schwartz, who played 9 years in the NFL, he pointed out to me, he's like, quarterbacks usually don't get hurt in QB run. They don't get hurt when they know contact is coming. They get hurt when they're in the pocket and they get blindsided and things like that.
Sure.
Has that been true for you? That most of the time when you really feel a hit, it's because you didn't see it coming?
Yeah. I mean, nine times out of 10, that's how those big hits happen. Yeah, you just gotta kind of be vigilant in any situation. It's never easy to be a quarterback, just having to stand there and throw a 300-pounder is coming to hit you. But yeah, you just gotta take it and roll with it.
When I heard Coach Witt's comments, I was like, I don't know how much I believe him. Cam, I know there's gonna be those downs where you're just gonna stick your face in there and you're gonna get the yardage.
Yeah, it's football at the end of the day. You got to go out there and try to get first downs, keep the chains moving so that you can get closer to that end zone and then put the ball in. So whatever needs to be done, I'll be ready to do it. But yeah, it might not be as designed for me to do it, but there's always times where scrambles and stuff like that comes up, and yeah, you just got to be ready.
So Utah versus Southern Utah, getting away from this game, making sure everyone's healthy, a continuation of the good fortune, and I guess there's science behind it too. You guys got through camp without a lot of injuries. How much discussion is there on that, staying healthy in a game like this?
It's always takes an initiative. Number one, it's always ball security, and then protect the ball, protect the team. So that's kind of like our philosophy. Protecting the team is protecting yourself, making sure you don't get hurt, because be as good as your next play, and you just got to be ready to go. And yeah, anytime you lose a quarterback, it's never easy. So just got to be ready and give everything you got.
Will we see Isaac Wilson in this game, you think?
That is the goal, but yeah, I gotta make sure we're putting up points to get there.
The running back room, we talked about it last week. We'll probably talk about the running back room every single week. My thoughts on no one really emerging yet as like a true bell cow, as a RB1. I think you separate yourself as a running back in those desperation moments, in those moments where it's live contact. And as much as you try to simulate that in practices, and I know you guys do have your hard practice periods, you really find out what a running back is when he's got to move the sticks. And when he gets hit in a game and he keeps the feet churning and he gets you that extra yardage. I remember even in recent years, guys didn't really emerge as the obvious dude in the room until you were actually playing games.
Yeah.
Do you expect somebody to separate themselves once we get into these games?
Yeah, you always kind of hope somebody will take that initiative to go out there and try and separate themselves. But it's a talented room, and there's guys that are kind of different in some ways. So just knowing how to apply that, I think Coach Led will do a great job always putting the best guy in those situations. And yeah, that's kind of the goal. But yeah, whatever happens, and I know all of them will be ready to go.
In these final couple of days of practice, it's not just about your offense. Obviously, the defense has to play great. Safeties and corners. There was some angst when we saw that two deep, and there's some real young guys that are in the two deep at corner. There's some guys that just moved over from the running back position to play corner. How have they looked in practice?
They've been doing good. I mean, I think Coach Shaw does a great job coaching, and yeah, kind of is able to fast track learning because of that, and just having a room that has some really good older talent is helping those younger guys, and hopefully they can just keep learning from them and be ready to go whenever their number's called.
The defensive ends, it's another thing we've talked about a lot on this show, and Kyle Whittingham has had a ton of praise for that group, and nobody's tackling you, right? But how many of those guys are tagging off on you and talking their smack when you're in live drills and getting past your own line?
Yeah, they always love to talk a little smack and do all that stuff, say it's a sack, and then you watch the tape, they're not even close. But it is what it is. You just got to roll with it. But they are extremely talented, and I know they give our O-line a great test every day. So I'm glad they get to work with such good players like that. It's going to make them just that much better for the whole season.
A couple more minutes with QB1 Cam Rising here on the Sean O'Connell Show. It is game week, Southern Utah, Thursday night. There's a special occasion happening also with this game. The Ring of Honor is being introduced at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Alex Smith is going to be the lone inductee in this first year. How much contact have you had with Alex?
Not too much. Actually, I've only been able to talk to him a few times, but yeah, just have a tremendous amount of respect for him. Think he's an amazing quarterback. Sometimes we even still watch his tape just on our quarterback teach tape and stuff like that, just because he did so many good things for the Utes.
Do you feel like stylistically there's some similarities between you two guys?
For sure. I mean, he definitely was a very good runner. I watched him.
Excellent.
I actually watched him on our teach tape. I think chase down the Mountain West 100 meter sprint champion of back in the day when he was at Utah, threw a pick and was able to catch him, and the defense actually got a stop on that. So
wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing play and something that I think every quarterback can kind of look at and just have a lot of respect for.
With him in town for this, you anticipate you'll be able to sit down with him, pick his brain a little bit?
Yeah, I always hope to talk to any great football player, just to pick their mind, see if I can add anything to my game through talking to them, and hopefully yeah, we get some time to spend together.
I know you probably don't get to focus on it at this point, but that Ring of Honor, your name's going to be in that at some point.
That'd be amazing. I'd be honored to be a part of that.
When we looked at the criteria, we spent some time going through okay, who's already checked these boxes, and it's almost like when they put the criteria together, it's like, well, Cam's definitely here. This coach is definitely going to be here, and the way that it works out, I think, allows for a lot of the real greats to get in. It's pretty cool to see.
Think Coach Witt will be in there? No. He's definitely in there.
We keep going back and forth about you got to name it Kyle Whittingham Field probably.
For sure.
You got to put the bronze statue up.
Oh, yeah.
He has been I don't want that.
Get him on the motorcycle.
I'm we gotta find something that Kyle Whittingham will sign off on. The motorcycle might be it.
I know that'd be pretty sweet right there.
I said just name the stair climber after him, and all good.
He'd love that, I bet.
Just put a plaque on that stair climber, and he's golden. Anybody who's going to surprise us in this game, we saw the depth chart. We've talked to the coaching staff. We've heard about who's having good weeks of practice. That doesn't tell the whole story. Is there going to be someone that jumps out?
That's tough. I mean, it depends on who you're talking to and who you've been kind of focused on. I think there's a lot of guys that can go out there and play some big time ball. I think Mike Mitchell is primed and ready for a big game with running the ball, and I think Caleb could even have a great game, just putting him in some good situations. So hopefully he can make some plays, and yeah, it should be a good day.
You already have your script for the first few plays scripted?
Actually about to go do that right after
this
interview. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you if you liked the first couple series, but I guess you don't know yet.
Yeah, I always like to do that first day of the game week. So yeah, 2 days before the game and go from there, and then talk to Coach Led tonight about it.
How collaborative is that effort now with you and Coach Ludwig? Like, if there's something that you're just like, no, I don't feel good about this. I saw this on tape, and I don't think we need to start a game with this. How much feedback are you allowed to give him?
A lot. I actually go in there with a whole list of plays for the openers and stuff like that, and usually he does a great job just collabing with me and just talking, and we always talk about certain plays that we want to show early just to set up some other things. So yeah, you gotta kind of always have an open conversation, and usually just spend like an hour talking through the openers, and then usually go through our third down list, and yeah, it usually just makes it that much more efficient once we get on the field.
Have you ever had one where you're like, I know this is gonna work, I love this play to this guy, and then it just gets blown up, and you're like, I was wrong about that?
Yeah, there's always situations that come out in football. You don't always expect the defense to just completely change some of the things that they do for that week, and sometimes they do, so you just got to be ready for whatever happens.
What's the final score going to be Thursday night?
I think it's going to be a great game. Just looking forward to getting out there and playing.
All right, we'll get everyone else's prediction on the score.
Yep.
We'll let you focus on actually making it happen.
Yeah.
Cam, good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun. Everyone here, everyone in this whole state, very excited about seeing you back on the field.
I'm excited to be back out there. Looking forward to seeing the Muss go crazy.
All right. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you Thursday night.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Cam Rising, QB1. Utah versus Southern Utah, Thursday night at Rice-Eccles Stadium. The wait is over. It's finally back. Utah football on your home of the Utes, ESPN 700.